Hello everyone, back tuning into the fifth update for the winter of 2015-2016. In today's video we're going to have a look specifically at sea surface temperature. And I want to have a look at the ocean again, see what's happened with El Nino. Also want to have a look at the Atlantic for this update. Very unique year this. I don't think I'm giving too much away from the video to say that this is a very, very unusual, very unique year in terms of what the oceans are doing, and we're in sort of unknown territory in a way, which makes the forecast very hard to get together. For me, it makes it a bit of a nightmare, but it's also very exciting really to see quite what's going to happen, because whenever you're in uncharted territory with the weather and the climate and all of the drivers that sort of come together to drive the weather, such as the oceans, then it adds in sort of an unpredictable element, if you like, and we've certainly got a very unpredictable setup in terms of what the oceans are doing for this autumn and winter season. So I'll show you all the detail on it in a moment. We'll have a look and see what's going on with the Atlantic and the Pacific. And also have a look at Siberian snow cover as well, see how quickly that's advancing across the Russia plain. It's doing quite well, so have a look at the charts on that in a second. Also have a look at solar activity, all of the things that we always look at, as you know. But before I get on with that, just very quickly to mention the ads. There's links to articles on all the pages at Gazavis. Have a browse of widgets and click through the links. If there's any articles that you're interested in, you'll be helping to pay for the website, and thanks so much for doing that. There's also video ads on most pages. They open out within the content, and then when you've watched them, they'll close back up again. It's all helping to pay for Gazavis.com. Gaswebbiz.com. It allows me to sit here and talk to you via the website. So thanks so much for getting involved, and thanks for doing that. With virtually the halfway point for these updates, so we're nearly halfway there, getting rather towards the crunch end. That'll be particularly in November, when we really will have to start thinking about getting things together, but still just about time enough to have a bit of fun, hopefully, with the videos before we have to start getting serious, actually, as we get through into November. Right, let's get on with the update. Just a quick say about the poll, by the way. There's going to be a poll on the blog this afternoon, this evening. Just ask what you think is going to happen for the winter. So it'll be sort of multiple choice. You have to pick out whether you think it'll be milder than average, colder than average, etc., etc. So we'll come back to that on the blog this afternoon, and this evening we'll be gauging a little bit of opinion to see what's going on. Results about being announced on the blog on Tuesday evening. Right, let's get on with the update. Hoping to keep this a little bit shorter today. So I'm going to start off, see what's happened with El Nino. Now we've got the cold and warm episodes by season updated for the tri-monthly period through July, August, September from NOAA. So we go scroll down the list. We start in 1950, of course, just here. Blue is cold events, landing red, such as in 1953, is warm events, which is El Nino. So we scroll down to the current scenario, and here we go for 2015. I'll just zoom in a little bit in case you can't see it all that well. There it is, and we've got 2015 just here. And what we see is that we've got another red number. So as I told you last month, we are within El Nino. It's been designated. There's no doubts about it. That was the tri-month period, June, July, August, that got us to the El Nino threshold, coming in at 1.2. For July, August, September, the next tri-monthly period, which is this one just here, we actually go up to 1.5 degrees with the anomaly. This is a very strong El Nino event. If we go back through past years, we can see the 2009-2010 event. At this point, we was only at plus 0.6 of a degree above average in terms of the 2009-2010 event. 2004, we are just at half a degree, 0.5. 2002, just at 0.8. So we have to go back to 1997 to find a tri-monthly period, to find this tri-monthly period when we was warmer than we currently are. At this point in 2007, the tri-monthly period for July, August, September came out at 1.7. So a little bit down on that, just as we was for the June, July, August tri-monthly period. That's quite interesting, actually. So for the June, July, August tri-monthly period, we come out at 1.2. The same tri-monthly period in 1997 was 1.4. 0.2 degrees warmer. And then the same has happened for this tri-monthly period. We come out at 1.5 for this tri-monthly period just gone, July, August, September. The same tri-monthly period in 1997, we come out at 1.7. So we're just ever so slightly under so far the 97-98 event. If this carries on, we'll be very close to 2 degrees just here, and we should reach 2 degrees just here. And then stay at around 2 degrees for that tri-monthly period just there. But you notice we are running ever so slightly under the all-time record El Nino event of 97-98. At the moment, we may overtake it. Of course, it's possible we could overtake 97-98. But at the moment, the last two tri-monthly periods have been coming out just a little bit under where we was at this point in 1997. In any case, a mega El Nino event is unfolding, a very strong event indeed. So have a look at the oceans, and of course it's the Pacific Ocean that has the signature of El Nino. This was the situation on the 1st of October. This was the chart we used for last week's update. These red colours here from Peru to Indonesia showing us where the El Nino event is taking place. Also got this cold anomaly in the northern Atlantic Ocean. So if we go through to the latest anomaly, you can see, let's deal with El Nino first of all. We can see that from last week's anomaly to the latest one, probably a little bit more warming has occurred through this central region. There's no sign of Modoki, central-based El Nino. It's a uniform warm event from Peru into the central part of the Pacific. To get Modoki El Nino, we need this part to cool, while this part sort of is warmer. There's no real sign of that at this stage, just a uniform east to west El Nino event. But I think further strengthening of the El Nino has taken place over the past week. Now, I just want to draw your attention to what's going on in the northeastern part of the Pacific Ocean. Got cooling continuing to occur up there, so going back to the 1st of October, this is a situation in this part of the United States and Canadian coast of the Pacific Ocean up here. If we go through to the latest chart, we can see it has cooled a little bit more. It's still not cold, but it's certainly cooler than it has been over the past couple of years. We may look at this in a little bit more depth next week, actually, but so it has cooled a little bit more in that northeastern part of the Pacific Ocean compared to last week, and it is cooler compared to the last couple of years. So I am starting to think that we may get something of a slightly different pattern maybe this winter for the United States compared to what we've had over the past couple of years. I've got to do a forecast for America for the winter of 2015-2016 later on this week on the 15th, and I'm a little bit undecided actually now. Things are cooling up here. Just complicates the issue a little bit. Now let's have a look and see what's going on in the Atlantic Ocean. So we have this cold anomaly in the northern Atlantic Ocean, as we know, through the central part and northern part of the Atlantic. It's fairly warm, though, going through the tropics. This is a very unusual, certainly for the last 20 years or so, this is a very unusual sort of setup compared to what we've been seeing over the past 20 years in particular. I've been having a look back through the archives. I can't really find a year that matches this year in terms of the Atlantic and in terms of what's going on in the Pacific. That the cold anomaly, has actually grown a little bit over the past week. So again, this was the chart for the 1st of October in terms of the Atlantic Ocean cold anomaly. If we go forwards, we can see that has actually strengthened again ever so slightly through this central part of the Atlantic. So it's showing no signs of going away at this stage. So I've been looking back through the archives at NOAA. You can find the link to the ocean products, the ocean temperature anomaly products from NOAA on the links page. We can go right way back to 1996 with these anomaly charts. So this is the full list just here, going back to 1996. And back to 1996, I can't find a year where we had this much cold in the northern part of the Atlantic Ocean at this time, in conjunction excuse me, with the strong El Nino. 97, 98, I won't show you the chart. I could show you the chart very quick. So let's have a look at 1997, which is this one just here, and go down to October, which is this, let's say the 11th of October, 1998. So there we go. That is the anomaly chart for the 11th of October, 1997. And you can see very strong El Nino, indicated by those red colours there, from Peru going into the Pacific. But look at the Atlantic. That's the key. The Atlantic significantly warmer compared to what we've got going on now. There's the situation in the Atlantic now, a situation in 1997 when we had an El Nino event this strong, and we have a significantly warmer Atlantic Ocean. So I've looked back to 1996 and I can't find a year where the Pacific, the El Nino and the Pacific Ocean was as warm as this and the Atlantic was as cold as this. I can go further back than that, and actually I can go back to 1984 with these charts, which is the monthly mean SST anomaly charts, 84 to 98. Again, you find the link to all of these products via the links page at gasweatherviz.com. So I've got 1998 over here. We can go back to 1984 just here. And again, going even that far back, I can't find another year where the Atlantic was cold at this point, as cold as it is in the Northern Atlantic, in conjunction with this El Nino event, very strong El Nino. So we really are in uncharted territory here. I would like to have a look at the charts for 82, 83 to see whether the Atlantic, because that was a strong El Nino event, 82, 83. Let's see what the Atlantic was doing then. But certainly back to 1984, I can't find a match for this year, and it seems we are really in uncharted territory for this particular winter. Now, you may have been hearing a lot about how the this cold anomaly, I'll show you it again, you've probably been hearing a lot about how this cold anomaly is sort of going to send us into an ice age or that kind of thing, and how it may be the start of Gulf Stream shutting down due to the melt from Greenland, the ice melting out and all of that kind of thing. Do want to show you the chart for 1984. Let's have a quick look at that. I've got it here somewhere, so I think I'm a bit slighted. I'll show it anyway from here. So this is the chart for October 1984, and you can see just how much colder it was in October 1984 in the North Atlantic compared to the situation now. And actually I think that one is showing you November, so this is November 1984 just here. And well, that's what a proper cold Atlantic looks like. Now, bearing in mind this is a very long time ago, so the charts are the resolution of the charts probably is a little bit poor. And these warmer anomalies that we've got here around, very few of them in the North Atlantic, but there are a couple of warmer anomalies, probably bigger than that if you was to show this chart in a modern sort of resolution, you see what I mean. But nevertheless, that's a very cold looking Atlantic Ocean. Look how cold it is through the tropics. Look how cold it is to the south of Greenland. So that's what a proper cold Atlantic Ocean looks like. We have got pretty cold anomalies in the North Atlantic. I don't want to downplay what's going on in the North Atlantic by any means. But this is all, I think it's all cyclical. I don't think it's anything particular particularly to worry about. I think it's the start of the cold AMO, the start of the cold Atlantic multi-decadal oscillation. I'm going off on a tangent here. It's not really got anything to do with the winter forecast, but I think this is the start of the cold AMO. Joe Bastardi, the famous Joe Bastardi from America, formerly from AccuWeather and now weatherbell.com in America. He's been talking about all of this stuff for years, the warming and cooling of the Atlantic Ocean, the cold AMO versus the warm AMO, etc. Same true in the Pacific. He's been talking about all of this stuff for years. This was firmly in the cold AMO era, November 1984. We're just sort of going into the cold AMO now, just at the very start of it. We've been through the warm AMO, really from 1995 through, well, it peaked probably in 2005, but we're still in the warm AMO, really, probably will be for the next 5 or so years. But I think we're just at the start of the shift from the warm AMO to the cold AMO. I think what's going to happen over the next 5 years will probably warm the Atlantic again, actually, from where we are now. I'd be too surprised if the Atlantic has one last burst of quite high warmth over the next 5 years or so. And then in the 2020s, we'll firmly drop down into the cold AMO there. But it's all cyclical. I don't think it's anything to be desperately alarmed about at this stage. And actually, clearly back in 1984, when it was in the middle of the cold AMO, the last cold AMO, the Atlantic was significantly colder than even what we're seeing right now. So let's get on back to our winter fate. Now, the only years back to 1984 that I could find that sort of is a match. It's not a great match. It's probably 2009. So this was the situation with the Pacific and the Atlantic on the 10th of August 2009. It's not a great match, I've got to say, but we do have some cooler anomalies here in the northern part of the Atlantic. We've got a bit of an El Nino development. This was, up to this point, this was the strongest El Nino eventually since 97, 98, but it certainly doesn't look anything much in terms of the El Nino there on the 10th of, on the 8th of October. 2009. And of course, the northeastern Pacific is cold. It's normally a cold place up there, and that is what it normally looks like with cold anomalies up there. As we progress through, so we go to November, we can see that this cold anomaly in the Central Atlantic does get a bit bigger. Nothing like we've got at the moment. The El Nino strengthens. We go through to January into the winter of 2009-2010. Remember, this is a cold winter. And what happens is that cold anomaly sort of sets up through the central part of the Atlantic. So it's in this sort of zone just here. And actually, we get a tripole developing where it's warmer there, it's colder there, and it's warmer there. And that's sort of the signature for a negative North Atlantic oscillation. I'd say this isn't a great match to what's going on at the moment, but it's the closest I can find. Notice up here we warm a little bit, but still a bit cold, and we have got an El Nino event through the equatorial Pacific, but again, significantly weaker compared to what we've got going on right now. So what we're going to be looking for, I think, through the remainder of the autumn and into winter, is to see whether this cold anomaly goes further south and goes into this sort of zone. If it goes through there and we get some warming there with the warm tropical Atlantic, of course, if we cool it there, then we could get a tripole from all of this. But at the moment, where that cold anomaly is, it's not really a tripole. And it's just a very confusing picture, this. It's very, very unique. It's a one-off setup in terms of what the Atlantic and the Pacific Oceans are doing. Excuse me, very much out of sync. So, we're going to have to do more research on it, but I don't actually think, because it's such a unique situation, with virtually no years to go by, and to compare, I'm not sure research is going to be much help, to be honest. I think the Atlantic and the Pacific are sort of leading us into unknown territory for this winter, so it makes it very exciting for what all this is going to mean in the end, but it makes it very difficult to predict what the effects of it all could be. So done with the oceans for the time being. Let's have a look at solar activity, and we'll have a look at the solar disk on our side of the disk today from solarham.net. This is the visible disk, and we can see that there's virtually no sunspot. Got just one there. Otherwise, we've got a virtually blank sun. Solar activity is officially designated as very low today. I can tell you that from Solarham. You find it at Solarham on the links page. So really weak solar activity. James Ackwell, my good friend James, has sent through the latest chart of running solar activity from last winter to present, and we can see it had a big drop in activity. You remember in last week's update we said that September had seen a bit of a spike up in activity. That shows just there. Look where we are now. We've dropped down big time over the past week to 10 days. Significant drop in solar activity has taken place. So that's going in the right direction for blocking. There is a connection between weak solar activity and the chance of normal blocking. That's all going okay if you want to call winter. Keep the solar activity at that sort of level, and solar activity shouldn't be too much of a problem. So we'll keep an eye on that. We may get a final spike up, as I've explained before. The current solar cycle that we're in, solar cycle 24, is running very close to solar cycle 12. Solar cycle 12 had one final spike up at around this point within that solar cycle. So we may get one more final spike up in solar activity, but at the moment we're weakening activity, and solar activity today is very low. Hurricane activity next. This is the chart from Wikipedia that I like to look at, the season summary map for the hurricane season of 2015. Very weak season, as we know. So up to this point we've had just 11 depressions, 10 total storms, 3 hurricanes, and 2 major category 3 or above hurricanes. It's not going to be a big hurricane season. Probably going to be a little bit more active than the one we had last year, maybe, but it certainly isn't going to be a significant hurricane season of note. So that goes a little bit against the idea, perhaps, of getting a cold winter, but we'll continue to monitor it. Just want to have a look at solar activity. Not solar activity, Siberian snow cover. Finally, before I go, it's been a very long day. So this is the latest image from the National Ice Centre and NOAA in the United States. And we can see that we're doing quite well for snow cover, actually. This is from Friday the 9th of October. The chart hasn't updated yet for when I'm doing the video on Saturday the 10th. But you can see there's plenty of snow cover here across northern Siberia. Quite interesting, it is pushing into some western parts of Russia as well. Not into the far west of Russia, of course, but closely into western parts of Russia, we have got some snow cover appearing. Notice also there's some snow cover across Scandinavia. How are we doing compared to other seasons? Just quickly run through these. So this was the situation on the 9th of October 1998. Excuse me. I think we've probably got a little bit more snow cover there in this point in 1998, but it isn't quite as far west into West Russia, and not as much across northern Scandinavia either. 1999, we're running close to 1999 last week. Significantly less snow at this point across both Scandinavia and Russia in 99. 2000, significantly less. 2001, significantly less. But again, notice how much sea ice there is compared to now. Significantly less sea ice for 2015 compared to this point in 2001. Now, 2002 beats this year. So by this point in 2002, we had got a lot of snow cover across many parts of the northern part of Siberia anyway, and even pushing into some central and western parts of Russia. Also some across northern Scandinavia. So I think 2002 does beat where we are at the moment. 9th of October 2003, significantly less. 2004, significantly less. Nothing across Scandinavia at all at this point in 2004. 2005, significantly less snow cover again. 2006, probably close to where we are right now in terms of northern Russia and eastern Russia, but very little in the west. Actually, probably a little bit more across eastern parts of Russia, but not as much further west. So total coverage probably quite similar. 2007, again, significantly less snow cover compared to what we've got right now. 2008, 2009, significantly less, but very interesting 2009. That was interesting. We talked a little bit about that in terms of the ocean. I'll come back to that in a second. See if you can just look at that and see where you can spot what's interesting about that chart. For Russia, significantly less, but there is something else that is quite interesting there. 2010, significantly less snow cover then. 2011, significantly less. 2012, significantly less. 2013 probably beats where we are right now, and 2014, as we know, had a huge advance in 2014. Probably beats where we are at the moment. Again, northern Scandinavia, though, doesn't have much snow at this point in 2014. Go back to 2009, and that gives the game away, because it's Scandinavia that I'm interested. Look how much snow there was at this point across Scandinavia in 2009. Very little, actually, at this point across the Siberian plain, but quite a lot, and unusual to get that, to get more snow across Scandinavia than you've got across eastern parts of Siberia. That is very unusual what happened in 1999. We'll see whether the snow cover across Scandinavia does build up, because 2009 is our closest sort of match in terms of what the oceans are doing, albeit it's not a great match at all, but it's the closest I can get to in terms of what the oceans are doing. And we'll just see over the next week. We'll come back to this, of course, next week and see whether things have developed in terms of snow cover across Scandinavia in the coming week. But we're not doing too badly for snow cover. That's, I suppose that's the main thing. We're not doing too badly across Siberia. We're beating many of the years. There's still a few, 2002, 2013, 2014, sort of beat where we are now. But otherwise, we're not doing too badly. But I want to keep an eye on what's happening over Scandinavia. Well, that's it. I've gone on for long enough for this update. It's a very confused picture, so I hope you enjoyed the update anyway, and just seeing what goes into the winter forecast, see the things that I'm playing with as I'm trying to come to my decision about what I think is going to happen. It is a confused picture this year. We're in unknown territory in terms of what's happening with the oceans, really. I told you last week that I think something unusual is going to happen this winter, and I'm more convinced of that than ever, actually, off the basis of this update, due to the fact that the oceans are in such an odd and unusual state. So I do think something very strange, very unusual, very rare could happen this winter, but quite what it will be cold, will it be very mild winter, very, very undecided at the moment. So we'll do the next update next week. I've got a bit of a problem for next week because next Saturday is my birthday. I normally record these videos on a Saturday evening, so you can watch them on a Sunday, but I may take the night off next week. I think I've earned a little bit of a night off for my birthday, so I'll probably get the 6th Winter 15-16 update done earlier in the day. There's no reason I can't do it in the afternoon, and then I've got the night off to enjoy my birthday. Well, that's it then for the 5th Winter update. This will be going on to the Winter Updates page later on with a written summary, so if you couldn't watch all the video in one go, it doesn't matter, you'll be able to read the summary of it, and of course you can watch the video at any point, at any time, because it'll be kept on the website as well. So that's it for now. Come back this afternoon or this evening for the poll to have your say on what you think is going to happen for this winter. Sorry this update wasn't much help, perhaps in making your mind up, but it will be making your mind up time with the poll later on today. Okay, that's it for now, and thanks for watching.